welcome to another episode of So I Married a Mennonite. I want to introduce you guys to a pretty cool dude. This here is Moses Fisher. You got your fingerprints everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
So recently I bought this. This is a tiny house. It was a glorified shed, basically. And I called Mose and I said, hey man, do you want to help me convert this into a tiny house? And so we decided to work together again, and here is the fruit of our labor. But yeah, I think before that, Mose, you and I went to Haiti together with an ex-Amish youth group, right?
Yes.
That was an experience for me.
Yeah, it was fun to use.
Yes, a bunch of ex-Amish youth who ranged in dressing completely like Amish to jeans and t-shirts and everything in between. That was actually my first introduction into what it means to be ex-Amish and what all that has meant for the families who are greatly affected by making the choice to leave the old order horse and buggy Amish church and how that is viewed by your culture. Well, I'm excited for today to meet with Priscilla and Naomi and Moses to learn from them about what it's really been like for them to go from being old order Amish to ex-Amish. So what do you think of Moses' handiwork in the tiny house?
Pretty cool. You have to tell me what all you did, Mose.
Go ahead, Moses. Let's hear it.
This section here, the bathroom, it was all open. Everything was open.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I put
Do you want to come over?
the wall in, the bathtub, the drywall the ceiling. Put this door up that Christian found. Oh yeah, I extended it off about a foot. Two reasons for that. Like Christian said, to make it a queen up there and to make room for the bathroom. It would have looked weird if I would have just extended the bathroom part a foot.
Mm-hmm. It had to be done to put in a full bath.
Yeah.
And that was real important for us, you know, to have to do an Airbnb.
And then
People want that full bath.
I just got done yesterday with that awning.
Oh my gosh, right there, man.
What?
Put it just up.
Yeah,
Oh my
that
gosh, that took so much work.
That was a lot of figuring out.
You wouldn't think this is such a big deal, but this was a drama.
I built that stairs there.
Yep.
Oh, you built those stairs? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that was fun.
Yeah. I'm real happy with it. It's been fun too because like I've never really done a project from like the beginning to the finish. It's always like little pieces because I'm not good at I'm good at problem solving, which is good, but I'm not good with handy. And fortunately, Mose is really good with handy. Yeah, so when you combine our two work skills, it's really, I really enjoyed it over. I mean, it's been frustrating, no question.
Oh my goodness.
I've said a few bad words, but, you know, overall.
It's been good overall.
I agree, yeah. And who knows, maybe people will like hire you now to build our tiny house. You can start your own business, Moses Fisher, tiny house extraordinaire.
There you go.
Yeah. What has being ex-Amish meant to you?
When my uncle started leaving the Amish, at that point I was like, well, maybe my parents would leave the Amish too. It's like, it might be kind of cool to see what it's like to not be Amish. But then when it actually did happen, I was like, it's kind of bittersweet. Because
I bet.
it's kind of cool. It's like, oh no, you can drive cars, have computers, electric, that kind
A little
of
more
stuff.
freedom.
And then, but on the other hand, it's like all my cousins on my mom's side, or most of them, not all of them, her oldest sister is ex-Amish as well. Yeah, on my mom's side, that's the only other one that is not Amish on my mom's side. And then on my dad's side, there's only one that is still Amish.
Mm.
So
it's been a bittersweet. You have freedom, different freedom now,
yeah, different.
but not the same type of relationship with the family that you were closest to. Well, I'm really excited for this episode to air because I think that we've heard so many wild rebellion stories about the Amish, the wild kids who like go to the big city and do all this crazy stuff because they want to be free. But your story, your family's story is not that at all.
No.
You guys did not leave to go out into the wild blue yonder and see the world. You
Yeah.
left for very serious reasons, and
Yeah.
there is a price that comes with that. How many kids had you had when you guys left the Amish church?
10.
10 kids?
No,
Well,
no,
no, we
not
came
two.
after.
I'm so, like, that's something that just can never ceases to amaze me.
It came after we left.
And you were how old, Naomi?
6.
6 years old.
Yeah.
So do you remember it? Like, do you remember the plain clothes and, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, not like I remember now, but yeah.
Without going into like any detail at all. Like, what was the reason why you guys chose to leave the Old Order Amish church?
Well, first off, it was the Amish didn't like it that we don't shun our family. I think that was one of the biggest reasons.
Did you have a family member who left the Amish church?
Yeah, my husband's family, Samuel's family, they had left the Amish.
So they left, and your family chose not to shun them, and they got mad and said, "You can't be Amish?"
Yeah, that's because we didn't shun them. We drove with them, and that was the last straw.
So what was that like for you? It's like, I'm just trying to put myself in that position of, like, if I make that decision, it doesn't just affect me or my husband, it's going to affect my kids too. It changes how like, everything about how your kids grow up after you make that choice has changed. How, like, what was that like to even make that decision? Did it take long to make it, or?
Well, it really was hard.
I'm sure.
It didn't really take that long because, you know, we were starting to read the Bible more and understand it more, understand it better. And like, how can we shun people if we know that they're walking the way that the Lord wants them to? And then my family came and they wanted to control us. That's not what Jesus would do.
You know, it's been a lot of years now. How many years has it been since you've...
It would be 16 years this year.
So what's the relationship like with the extended family out now?
Not good.
Really? I empathize, for whatever it's worth for me.
It has to be hard because you only know one way of life to just cut off that way of life.
Yeah.
Because you're like, everything that you're familiar with and that you know, you're saying, okay, well, I can't connect to that anymore, or I can. I mean, you take that with you, right? It's not like you change overnight, but suddenly the anchor for you is kind of like taken away.
Yeah.
I think as parents too, like, that's so much harder for. I mean, I'm sure it affected you guys.
Yeah.
Right, obviously. I'm not saying that it didn't, but for the parents, like, you didn't make the decision to leave. She and her, your dad did. So it's going to have a different level of weight. Like, a lot of people are fascinated by the Old Order Amish, like, lifestyle, the plain dress, the horse and buggy, the 8th grade education, the no technology. When you first left, did you guys change right away, or did it kind of trickle over time, or how did you decide?
No, we didn't change right away. It kind of trickled, like you said. But we started homeschooling right away because we don't want to send our children to public school.
And you couldn't go to the one schoolhouse anymore because of the situation, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even think about that, like schooling.
Yeah.
It cut off schooling right away.
Well, Moses was just done. He just made it under the wire.
Yeah.
So you graduated from 8th grade in the one-room schoolhouse.
Yep.
You were the last kid in the out of the 10 kids.
I think Manuel just graduated.
Did you use computers at first when you homeschooled, or was it all books?
Cyber school we did the first.
How did that go? Since you didn't grow up with technology, like, how did you know what to...
I had a friend at church. We had a lot of good support in our church where we went to. This one lady, she just pitched in there and she helped with the technology and just everything.
What was it like to start with the tech? Like how does that work?
I know what it was like for me. It was, okay, now how does computers work? Ooh.
You're a millennial. So in your age group, how did you catch up?
It took years to catch up.
Are you still catching up?
Pretty much, yeah.
No.
I think I still am, actually.
In what ways are you still playing catch up? Obviously, technology, that makes sense, but what about other things?
Social media, I mean, I'm not near on my phone like I hear millennials are these days. Pretty much when I go to work, I can set my phone down and forget about it till the end of the day. I don't
You're
even
not addicted like we all are.
I don't check my phone every 10 minutes for text or check my social media every 10 minutes or whatever.
What about for you, Naomi? I mean, you're a little younger, so what was it like for you? Was it an easier shift since you were 6 years old as opposed to 15?
Yeah, I'd say it was a little bit easier to shift from one way to the next way.
So how many years did it take before you started dressing more English or dressing your kids more English? How many years did that take?
It's just kind of slowly happened. Like our Amish clothes started wearing out. We started just buying t-shirts, pants. I'd say probably 5 years or so.
Oh, so it was not a conscious choice. Like it wasn't like
it just kind of.
We're gonna dress English now. We're not Amish.
Yeah.
We're throwing that part of our culture away.
And the thing is, there's times I would wear a t-shirt and Amish pants. Or
I see other people do that. Like there's still a transition going on.
How hard was it for you? Like you didn't grow up with English clothes. Like you went out there. Like what was that experience like for you? That had to be very strange coming from the background that you came in.
Yeah, it was not an easy transition because when we left, my sisters were telling me that, well, people that leave the Amish, they just want to go out and just throw their Amish clothes away. And I told them that's not what we're leaving for. And so I had a battle with that till eventually I was okay. This is like, if my children are wearing other clothes and my husband, he didn't care what clothes I wear. But finally I was okay, why, what do I want with my Amish clothes anymore?
When you're places with English people, do you feel different? Do you feel set apart?
Sometimes. Kind of varies what for connections you have with the people.
it's probably different for her than it is for me too.
How come?
I didn't grow up as long in the Amish.
Well, and you're not going to be judged like she is because you were never baptized, right?
Yeah.
And you were.
That's true.
So there's
That's
a stigma,
true. Yeah.
there's an unfair, you don't have an advantage over that they do. Because it's almost like, oh, they don't know any better kind of mindset.
You had a good support system when you left, you said.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about, are you willing to tell me a little bit about that? I mean, you walked away, but it's not like you walked away and you were alone.
We lived in York County when we left. Sam's family, they were back and forth with Grace Chapel. Yeah, they just took us in. Like, you don't have to stand by yourself, just lay.
Is that made up of a community? Are the people in that church, is that a community, some of them of ex-Amish background?
Well, ex-Mennonite.
Ex-Mennonite.
When I'm with Mennonites, I'm very clearly not Mennonite background. But when I'm in New Jersey, they all make fun of my accent. They talk about the way I dress. They say that I'm not cosmopolitan anymore. I am not like the rest because I've been living out here for a quarter of a century. 25 years of living in the country makes you different. At the same time, I haven't been able to shed my own identity of my own background. How do you guys feel? You're not Amish, you're not English. What does that mean?
Well, I feel like we know a lot of people that are ex-Amish, so that really helps with that because there's a whole big community of ex-Amish people. That group kind of has a identity of their own. It's not.
Wow.
So it's kind of.
That's deep.
Like you were saying.
That's deep.
In between. It's kind of an in-between culture.
Yes, that makes total sense, and I don't have that. There are no Italians from New Jersey who married Mennonites that I can find.
That probably makes a big difference anyway. Know what you're going through.
What's the biggest thing that you wish people on the outside understood?
One thing is for sure that there's a lot of Amish people that actually think a little bit the way we do that are still Amish. They just like it too much where they are.
It's probably a power in family too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is like you think
There's a
about
power
what they
in
went
family.
through.
Yeah.
You made a pretty big sacrifice to step away,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some people that for them, that's not worth the sacrifice, you know?
Anyway, I worked with a guy that he left the Amish. He's mid-20s, I think, or mid-20s. He left the Amish. Told me once that he goes once a week to his parents' house to eat.
Are they still old order Amish?
Yeah.
Does he have to sit at a separate table?
Yeah, he has to sit at a separate table.
But he's able to eat in the house.
He's still able to eat in the house.
Other than the actual sitting at a common table, eating at the same time, what else is there that signifies shunning in modern day, in 2022?
Taking things off of them. They're not supposed to take anything off of you.
If I said pass the salt, you could not physically hand me the salt. What would you do? You have to put it on the table?
Lay it down.
You can't physically touch. You don't shake hands?
You shake hands.
You do.
Some
Okay.
people would take it off anyway.
And what about you? You were not
thing-
baptized, so can you pass the salt or
Yeah.
not?
Absolutely.
You can pass the salt,
Yes.
but she can't pass the salt. She's got to get the salt from the table. You get the salt any way you like it, because you were 6 years old.
They don't have to shun me. I mean,
Right. Because
Yeah.
you're never part
they
of the
don't have to shun me like they have to.
Does it offend you as a son?
Sometimes, no. I mean, it depends. I mean, I understand it a little bit. To me, it's just weird.
I think the biggest thing I learned about what it is like to be ex-Amish in a world that is really neither Amish or English, but dead in the middle, is that these are people too. These are people who care and they hurt and they have joy in their lives and they're real people. Although the media today kind of portrays old order Amish kids who leave as this like big wild party, that was not the case of this family. I feel really privileged to be able to have that conversation because it's real for them. I think it's important for us as English people to keep in mind that not everyone has the same story. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this episode of So I Married a Mennonite, would you pass me the salt by liking, subscribing, or commenting below? And I'd love to have you join me on another episode really soon. Hey Mose, go long.